We happen to see Tiger Woods this weekend playing with his son. And of course, we've all followed Tiger's career and the meteoric rise, and he is indeed one of the greatest of all time. But George, I think you brought this up. It's kind of nice to see. Well, we don't get enough. Great stories and nice stories don't make for controversy, and people tune the dial right away because nobody's screaming and hollering at each other. But it's nice to see Tiger back with his kid and the next generation. Look, I'm not a fan of Tiger personally. Professionally, you got to love the guy. He's a jackass and a jerk to deal with. But it's nice to see that he's out there, back playing golf again, and got his kid on the sidelines. I love it.
Yeah. Somebody asked me yesterday, like, the best outcome for Tiger this weekend. And I say he's already achieved it by stepping on the golf course with his son Charlie at the PNC Classic. That's the story, period. He's back playing golf. No one expects him to hit 350-yard drives anymore or whatever. He is a broken, if you will, individual physically, and he knows that. He realizes that. He's gone through, I think, 10 surgeries. Let's never going to be the Tiger of old. I doubt whether we will see whatever. I don't even know if we'll see another incarnation back on the tour. But let's dial it all back, Ed. This is about a father playing with his son. And yes, it's a touchy-feely story involving Tiger Woods. So stop the presses. But the fact is that he realizes that. He's not trying to climb the mountain anymore. He's just out there trying to be a father, trying to get a semblance of his game back. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, let's take it one step further. Sam, I mentioned, of course, greatest of all time. We've watched Tiger. But we see what's out there now and the level of play on the PGA Tour. There's so many guys that now play exceptional golf because they're younger and they're better at their game than they used to be. Are we at a time where, at least in our lifetimes, we're never going to see the likes of a Tiger Woods again? Nobody's going to run the table like he did in so many other places, where golf is changing to where you will have a lot of really good players, but we're not going to see that great breakthrough for a long, long time.
Well, guys in the generation of sports writers before us said the same thing about Nicklaus. So, I mean, and then Tiger came along. So who knows what will happen? But, I don't know if you would call it fortunate, but I've spent a significant amount of social time with Tiger down at his club in Hope Sound. And he's a bit more of a humbled guy. There's no question about that, based on all the things that have happened to him. The fact that he can walk 18 holes, I think, is maybe the greatest achievement after hearing all the things about how they screwed up his surgery, how they had to take him to Cedars-Sinai and fix it, and all the rehab that takes. Whether he could walk 18 holes, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, I think is a big question. And as you said, the quality of player on the PGA Tour has to do with the quality of the athletes that now pick golf. A lot of that, 90% of that, is thanks to Tiger. Purses on the tour now allow great athletes to compete with the kind of money that they could make in baseball or football or basketball. So they choose golf. And look at who's out there on tour now. In the final round of the players in 1982, Jerry Pate was the winner. By the way, the only guy to ever win a PGA Tour event with an orange golf ball, because you couldn't see it on TV, so they kind of told him to cut that out. But Pate's playing partners, I believe, on the final day were Rod Curl and George Archer. Okay, Rod Curl's like 5'6", George Archer is 6'5". Guys like that aren't playing on tour anymore. That's not happening. You walk along any practice tee on the PGA Tour, everybody is 5'10", 180 to 6'4", 205. Everybody's got personal trainers. Everybody has a swing that's been honed in college or through junior golf. Lee Trevino's not coming back out on tour ever again. So the game is forever changed by the amount of money that's in it, and it's allowed great athletes to choose it. And think back, Gary Player was the first one to bring really fitness to golf. Arnold Palmer was a very fit kind of guy. Greg Norman kind of took it to the next level, and then Tiger perfected it. Maybe if you look at it, one of the best overall athletes to play the game. That's who you're getting to play professional golf these days.
Is that something that we need to discuss in this, Joey, that regarding Tiger, outside of golf itself, this was one of the best athletes of the generation. Period. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, I don't care what.
Yeah.
People didn't look at golf as being an athletic sport. People say, oh, it's a bunch of golfers. They're out knocking down beers and donuts. But the Tiger Woods changed everything and was one of the finest athletes of his generation.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say that Tiger Woods did for golf what maybe Babe Ruth did for baseball, what Red Grange did for football, what Wilt Chamberlain did for basketball. I mean, he was a guy that won a lot of tournaments, won a lot of majors, but he changed the landscape of how the people viewed that sport. He turned people that could have cared less about golf into, I'm not leaving my TV for this weekend. I'm going to watch this because Tiger Woods is playing. So his reach is far beyond the wins. He changed the whole way the sport was looked at. So he will always be on a top 10 list of significant athletes as we move forward on this planet, I believe.
But with him gone, the PGA Tour changes drastically because there's not that big, oh, I've got to watch this player or that player or this player. You now have such a wide open field that you've really got to be a golf fan at this point and not just a fan of 3-point shots, as you pointed out, knockdown touchdowns or anything. It minimizes a little bit the PGA Tour and without having a star, which I don't think they have, and they may not have for a while.
Yeah, I think golf is going to go through a period until the next guy comes along, and sometimes sports are like that. The non-Big Four sports, tennis has certainly had some times where it's wandered through the desert without a lot of great attention, without the Connors McEnroe, the Chrissy Martina. When you get away from those sort of things, tennis is pretty invisible to most sports fans. So golf will have more great players coming along, probably not to the level of Tiger Woods, but yeah, it's back now to the hardcore kind of fans, the golfers, the guys that play the sport and appreciate the sport. Tiger Woods is one of those absolutely once in a lifetime athletes that make you want to watch, and there's just a handful of guys that come along like that in our lifetime, and he was one of them and may have been the top.
So then, to make sure that we go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ed.
No, go ahead, George.
I mean, there's no question about that, but you say that you often say, well, this guy transcended the sport. He most definitely did, much like Ali did. Back, we talk about sports that are now struggling for relevance. Look at boxing. There will never be another Muhammad Ali. The circus definitely came to town with Tyson for different reasons. But now it's like Tyson Fury, and then people start saying, who else is in the mix? But Tiger brought people, because we've all seen there, we've all been at the galleries. He brought that casual fan, the guy who just was just saying, Sunday at 1 o'clock, let me tune in and see what's happening with Tiger. Male, female, whatever, because there was the racial element of it. There was just, he brought in a broad audience that golf had never seen before, and people were drawn to him for different reasons. So golf, I mean, you can't really blame golf. You can't blame. You just kind of it's circumstance. You can't replicate that, and we never will. I mean, we talked about Nicklaus. Yeah, perhaps there's somebody that will come down the pike, but we certainly don't have anybody in that mix right now. So I think even at this level, even the shell of the old Tiger Woods is still a huge draw, and people are still going to be gravitated towards that the same way they've been they gravitate to all these other great athletes in all these other sports.
I wonder if Tiger's learned to be humble.
He's a lot more than Urban Meyer, probably.
Yeah. The one thing about Tiger though is that he drives TV ratings, and I mean, if he takes 66 shots in a round, you're going to see every single one of them. And people forget, and you guys are old enough to remember. And I know that being on television and also as a writer, if you covered golf before 1997, at least here in North Florida, I was called so many times a racist by the minority community because golf was considered a white country club sport. And so the kind of coverage it got was very different than other sports because it was a very white kind of country club kind of sport. Well, Tiger changed all that. And that now it's a much more mainstream sport that people across all kind of spectrums are watching. So That sport has dramatically changed on television and how it's covered because of Tiger Woods and the fact that he called himself a Cablinasian. I mean, those are the things that people forget about, that if you covered golf before 1997, there was a part of your audience that was not happy.
But fair to say that appointment viewing in golf used to be Tiger Woods. Now, in 2021, going for 22, sorry, golf fans, I don't see appointment viewing to sit there and say, I got to watch a golf tournament. If it's on, I want to watch if I'm a golfer, but I don't see anybody that I want to say, male or female, that I can say, I got to watch today. It's not there.
Why the PGA Tour is distributing $40 million to players who are active on social media. I mean, which is not anything they've actually announced, but it's pretty well known. They've got a pool of $40 million. Why do you think Max Homa is even known by anybody? The guy's on Twitter every 5 minutes. All of those players, you know, the thing between Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. I mean, all of that is driven by the opportunity to get a part of that pool. And, you know, Koepka's not a big DeChambeau fan. I do know that. But at the same time, there's money to be made by creating these so-called rivalries in the game that manifest themselves on social media.
Well, you and I both know that the PGA Tour will say publicly, oh, we don't like our guys fighting. We really don't want this now. It doesn't really work for the staid nature of the game. Under the surface, they're going, oh, come on, go ahead. Stick them a little bit. Get in there and tweet them and make this thing fly, because arguments drive fans and they drive ratings. So if you see these two guys going at each other and pissing on each other, they love it.
Right. What's the thing that launched NASCAR nationally? They cut away to the Daytona 500, and Allison and Yarborough are fist fighting going into turn 3.
Yeah.
Nobody could pay for that kind of publicity.
Nobody paid much, and then it became the national sport it was, because all of a sudden people are seeing guys angry and fighting at each other. No, I agree with you completely. So this brings us just to one final kick right here, very briefly. Sam, how's your golf game?
Right now, non-existent, since I'm 8 days away from a new hip. So
well, but wait a minute. But before your hip and all that, how was your golf game?
I'm a high single-digit handicap.
Okay,
if I can get my driver straight, I'm dangerous.
Okay, George. I mean, I'm not even going to try to because my golf game is, you know, I'm good on Sega. How's yours?
I'm pretty much limited to Top Golf these days. It's just, you know, golf is just the sport that just, as we all know, it sucks you in, because you have that shot and you're like, okay, I got this. And then the next day, you know, the next shot, you're in the weeds or in the water, and, you know, you want to just kill yourself. So, but it has that appeal where it's just, it's passive aggressive. But it keeps you in. But I've gone, you know, through therapy, extensive therapy. I've just learned to basically walk away. Top Golf, I'll have a couple beers. It just mattered, you know, just hit, you know, try to hit the little things out there. Try to get some points, have some fun, and it's all good. And my blood pressure and my stress levels are greatly appreciative of that.
Joey?
Pretty much non-existent. I'm like George. I'm a Top Golf guy, but my whole life, and I guess I'm running out of years now, I keep saying, oh, you know, one day I'm really going to play a lot of golf, get serious about it, maybe take some lessons, really. But it hasn't happened. But maybe one day in my life, golf has always been a game where, like George said, you hit that one shot and you have that illusion that, hey, I could get good at this. Yeah. I could get good. But you do have to play and practice. That's the problem.
Hands up from everybody here who has thrown a golf club on the course. Just 2. Never? Sam? George? Never?
I figure I'm the one who hit
once.
You what now?
I lost one once. I don't know how. I have a scattered brain.
How did you lose a club? I mean,
but I did not throw one.
Sam, you've never thrown a golf club.
I'm always the person who figures, well, I'm the one who hit it there, so who am I going to be mad at?